Hello everyone, very nice to meet you. We have very pleasant day. I think anyone can move closer because with not so many people today. It's great. We will have a private ceremony, which I really like. You will don't need to be like I can directly give you a tea. My name is Sergey. I'm the founder of Moychay, and today we will drink some tea. And I will introduce you to some specialty, which is from my personal collection. Some teas, the samples. I will have a special samples from special countries. Regularly, you never heard something about tea from these countries, so you will try today something. And also, of course, I will answer your questions as usual. We're going here. It's not a lecture. It's especially focused on introducing anyone to tea, and if you have some questions, I'm really free to open. Especially we have very private session, which I really like because sometimes it's up to not here, but in Moscow, sometimes more than 100 people and more crowded. But when you have a cozy atmosphere like 10, 15 people, it's sometimes even more. For me, it's more pleasurable. So it's okay. Anyway, we will start. We will start from some very interesting tea, which is a GABA tea, but it's GABA white tea. White? Yes, I don't remember. Do we have a white GABA tea cake here? No, maybe
No GABA. We have two different white cakes.
White cakes. But we have our
Russian pot.
Great. But this is a kind of a sample, which we will have maybe a little bit later here because it's this year harvest, which is not arrived yet. Because logistics this year are slower 3-2 times than usual. If any of you have any relations with any kind of logistics, you know how it's working last 2 years. It's actually not working. But it's okay, just slower. We already received 2 containers, but this is a white tea from Yunnan province, but it was a little bit fermented. Regularly white tea is not fermented, and maybe I will add a little bit more. And it contains a little bit higher amount of GABA because this fermentation was in vacuum without oxygen. So this is why it contains a little bit higher level of GABA. But it's lighter tea. It's not so much GABA as in oolongs, what we present here, or GABA Sheng Puer. But anyway, it's interesting experimental product, which was done for the first time like only a few years ago on its region. It's Yunnan County in Yunnan province. And this is a harvest from May this year, and it's just last bunch, a sample. I will just for some teas we didn't drink first brew, but with some teas we will also drink it. For example, this tea is completely organic and also it's white, so we can start. First we start from the back side and after from front side, because regularly when we only like front side, and some people behind don't get the tea. But now we will not have this problem because.
So it's the GABA production.
It's a GABA technology. So GABA it's acid which contains in tea, regularly in any tea it is, but you can upper volume of amount of this GABA if you make oxidation or fermentation in vacuum without oxygen. Okay. So this is why you have a high level of GABA. And also GABA is very healthy. It's help you can take. It help you with and give to. It helps you to.
One question?
Yeah, of course.
What is the difference when you throw the first brewery away and one not?
It depends on the type of tea, but regularly, what I can say, I'm not doing a right way tea ceremony. We just trying teas, and especially then we focus on brewing. First step we didn't drink because it's open up the tea, and also for some types, especially for puer tea and some other, it's types where you have a lot of tea dust and it's just cleaning up the tea. So this is why we just also the teas which is just more cheaper teas. For top level teas are regularly just sometimes drink first brew, but it's not a good rule. Regularly I recommend for any tea didn't drink. Yeah, just throw it away. Because I'm tea tester, and we also today will test some teas which I also not tested before. So it will be kind of surprise because we have samples from Japan and from Colombia, which is really interesting. Yeah, we also have tea plantations in Colombia. I never knew that, but now I knew because some suppliers found us and they sent us samples. I tried a few teas, but also we'll try today something just for how to say is more wilderness. We will know more about tea. And you didn't get it yet, yes?
We had already.
We had already, but I just just put here. Yeah, it's. Yeah, okay. I will make one. Yeah. Main thing today we will have enough tea for anyone because sometimes we just too crowded. Yeah. So about this first first tip. Regularly it's good to don't try it. But why I try it, and because I'm tea tester and I need to try to taste the tea. If I just didn't drink first brew, I lost a little bit of information about the product. So this is why I need. But for each day use, I recommend didn't drink first brew. It's but just get it out very quickly. Didn't wait for long because if it's just you wait longer with some types of teas, you can lose some taste for next steps, especially with rock teas, for example, oolongs from Moychay. So it will be a little bit less tea later. So yeah. I regularly start from lighter teas and we will slowly go to more stronger ones, just because if we'll start from stronger, we'll be like too energizing in the beginning. So.
Do they all have caffeine, right? That's
And also I just like to say that each type of tea contains different level of caffeine. It's partly depends on the technology, and also it depends a little of the region, because for example the Southern teas, which is Yunnan province, which is origin of teas, Yunnan province, origin of teas, and also northern Thailand, northern Vietnam, all this big region, very small part of original production in India. All this golden. Region, it's a motherland of tea actually, and in this region the most higher level of caffeine contains in tea leaves, because it's actually there it's not a tea bushes, it's mostly tea trees, but some tea trees just cut it down to make bushes for easy harvest, and only for last maybe 25 years we mostly stop cutting that, because it's very good for promotion to show we have a big trees, not cut it up. But it's before it's crazy story, but in 70s and 80s a lot of places in Yunnan province they cut trees, just to make more easier harvesting, because price of puer tea was very cheap and there was no big market for top level bushel chai, like ancient trees puer tea, what we have now, because price in some places increases 2,000 times. It was like 3 yuan for kilo, 5 yuan for kilo, 1 yuan for kilo. Now it's 1,000 yuan, 3,000, 5, 10,000, 25,000 for kilo. It's maybe around 25,000. It's also not most expensive one. It's around 300, 400 euros or something, but it's also not top ones. You can see the teas like it costs triple more or even 10 times more, just for new guests.
What makes the price of the tea?
It depends on especially it depends on marketing. Mostly, in real, to be true, mostly it depends on marketing. But of course, behind there's a story about it's old ancient trees on very famous location, or it's kind of a very popular name. Especially it's because of popularity. What I can say, for example, we have some teas from Yunnan county. We have in the collection. It's one of our most expensive teas, Sheng Puer, and also 3 types of Sheng Puer. I think black tea already finished, but a little bit later, a little bit. And we signed a contract with the farmers. They care about small tea forest, And this forest, the younger tree is 500 years old, and the older 1,300 something. I have a movie on my YouTube about that. It's a very interesting place, but it's absolutely unknown place. It's a Yunnan County, very remote area, not tourist location, and their pricing for tea like 3-4 times cheaper than in Moychay region, the same age tea trees. Yeah, the same quality. Yes, only because of there's for example very famous villages like Lao Banjan or Bindao or some other a lot of villages and a lot of mountains. But Nanoshan Mountain is very famous, and some trees, especially trees older than 500 trees, they have a special mark on it. Who is the owner of this tree? It may be a farmer family, or it can be one company, or it can even be a private person as us, for example. We also have it, and we just rent. We not own, we just rent the material. We're regularly harvesting this material. Yearly. Sadly, I planning in last year I planned to buy more trees, but it banned travel to China, so now we only have like one forest, which is really like ancient trees. But it's pretty enough because it's not a cheaper and very accessible tea. But it's absolutely incredible if you want to try something really exclusive and tea from ancient trees. We have it, not a lot, but few types of tea we have. And yeah, but. Then you compare the taste and aftertaste and aroma of all flavors with different regions. Sometimes you can't, it's just answering your question about pricing. You can't 100% be sure about, oh yeah, I know this tea is like costs 100 euros, for example.
So it's much better.
So it's much better than this for 20 euros. Sometimes you can see the difference, like which looks like the same, or even you can feel that this tea is worse than the cheapest one. Sometimes it belongs to your taste. You say like your personal things, and it's can be not real, just you. Yeah, but also what is my goal? I trying to find if I see a price, I look on cost performance value. Just this, it must be CP value must be in real thing. I have my kind of standard. I know this is a price, and if I see that tea is just overpriced because of the huge, very famous village and just all branding or whatever, we just try to don't buy this tea. There is some examples. For example, northern regions, which is just Zhejiang province or Jiangsu province or Henan, Hubei province. They also have some teas. Even Shandong province have tea, and it's pretty well known. And mostly they are distributed around the province. They didn't export too much even inside China, and they are local. And the pricing is pretty high. It's sometimes regular black tea can cost 10 times more expensive than Yunnan black tea from southern China. And if you compare the quality, it's really great tea, but it's pretty thin. And I always wondered why they manufacture that and how do they sell. But it's because of China a little bit separated in some local manufacturers and local business owners or wealthy people like to support local farmers, like to buy local tea, because I'm from this city and I like to drink this local tea, which is I think really good. But of course for people like us, it doesn't really matter so much. For example, of course we have a little bit of teas which is like from this province because we just want to have it in assortment, but mostly I focus on the quality and performance. If it's just because it's rare, or it's because it's northern tea, which is much less material. Why northern tea also more expensive? Harvesting is a very shorter period of harvesting, and also much less material. And also salaries on the north more higher a little, and also a lot of different things. So this is tea from Zhejiang province, for example, mostly. And also other really big issue is ecology, because anyone, especially soils, of course, and all the industrial parts of China. What I met a lot in China and I heard a lot especially when I just started. Wow, you're starting to sell tea from China, but China is so dirty. It's so a lot of ecological problems, and It is in some point, but yeah, not for the whole country. Actually, you can travel around the country, you will see much difference between we have like great nature without any infrastructure, but no industrial infrastructure. Yeah, and for example, there is a special provinces which is just only focused on agriculture. So they didn't need to make any kind of industrial activities, especially Yunnan province, the southern part, no industrial activity. Fujian province, middle part, in mostly not, if it's not the coast, there is very low amount of industrial activity. Even what we can say for last years, the forestry rebuildings is a faster to more two countries which is rebuild the forest faster. It's India and China, and they just in the Fujian province 70% of the province it's a forest, which is really, and if you just look at the picture of China like 20 years ago and now, completely different countries. And even in infrastructure or whatever, just for me it's number one. After I have one travel when I was in China. After that I traveled to Taiwan, and after that I traveled to USA and in Australia also. It was at the same time pretty close. Taiwan pretty similar with China, and in Chinese, China thinks that it's part of China. Taiwan didn't agree with that. I don't want to talk about politics, not my part. But yeah, because Taiwan began to build infrastructure earlier than China, so it already often it's a little bit old, like old trains, old stations, and it's a little bit not so good as in mainland China. After I traveled to Australia, it looks like we just moved a century back. But after that, when I go to USA, I moved like 2 centuries back. Maybe it's all. I was in all West Coast. I was pretty everywhere, like 3 weeks driving all around California, Arizona, and I just see that it's just old. It's like old country with broken roads, with junkies on the streets, with crazy. I like it. I like it in some point, but I was shocked about the infrastructure and all the rest things. So China, comparing to that, looks like very new, wealthy country. Especially if you take Guangdong province or Beijing or Shanghai or big cities. Of course, if you talk about villages and remote areas, it's not that. But what we can say about Europe, for example, even here it's all like civilization everywhere. But about China, back to the tea actually.
It's still the
yeah, it's the next one. The first one, for those who arrived a little bit later, it's we drank white GABA tea from Yunnan province, and now we drink also tea from Yunnan province, but it's very interesting type. It's purple buds. It's purple buds, which is mostly harvested. A completely different tea and very special one. If you didn't try it before, it doesn't looks like any kind of tea, because it's harvested from wild grown teas or wild cultivars. Because sometimes they cut the crops from the old trees and put the crops on the younger bushes, and also have some kind of interesting mixes selections of teas. And now they have a huge industry for agriculture tea, cultivating and agriculture tea. It's a big market actually in China, not only in China. Taiwan of course, and also what we can say that now a lot of manufacturers from Kenya, from Vietnam, from Laos, from Thailand, and they more and more educate study from China and make more and more interesting types, because mostly it belongs not to cultivars, it belongs to soil, of course, the material. Yeah. And the second thing is the technology, and sometimes even technology much more important than the area. If it's good soil, good climate, which is good for tea, the soil must be suitable for tea. It's a special kind of soil with more acid inside, and I'm not special in that, but I don't talk too much about the soil. But what I can say that, for example, because we also have our own manufacturer in Krasnodar region in Russia, it's a very small factory, and next year we already started, but next year we will expand and scale big factory in Georgia. And there is a Yeah, there's different cultivars. They originally came from China, but they mutated naturally and also was selected by Soviet institute for this. There still is. The station in Georgia still exists, and they are also trying to rebuild the manufacturing of tea in Georgia because it was a pretty big manufacturer. But because of Soviet planet economy, it was the product was very poor quality because from high it was like, oh, please give us this amount of tea, and because of planet economy they just didn't care about the quality. They just we need we need 20 containers or like 3 trains of tea. Great, we will do something, and they cut crops like that. With the sticks inside and whatever. Just after that they crush it and make a kind of tea product. It's even not a tea.
So just produce
just produce the amount, give the amount, and after that they bought some tea from India and mix it to have some kind of drinkable product and call it like Georgian tea. So, but originally Georgian tea, if you just make it under good technology, just cut the small crops and use right harvesting, not harvest during rain, not harvest during the strong sunshine, not harvest after 12 and whatever, and a lot of special recipes about how harvest and after that how to manufacture, which is the most important thing. And now there is in Georgia like around 10 factories which is do pretty nice tea, not perfect because they didn't use kind of really new machinery and really new technology for oolong processing, for example, or for GABA processing, because when we made the first tryouts in Krasnodar region, they made a lot of absolutely like more than 15-20 types from one bush, from one type. And it's possible. You need to experiment. And often why some people didn't do so much experiments, especially in China, because they have a lot of orders for this type of tea, and this area make this type of tea, and you didn't need to experiment. Actually, you will have a clients if you know what you do, and they're afraid. We'll do something new, but who will buy it? And what I'm doing when I traveling and why I interact with the farmers and have some business relations, I ask them to do some experiment. I will buy anyway. And this is the main thing I do.
Incentive.
And they okay, we will experiment. I prepare material. Try, let's do. You
They also tell you what they have done. How to experiment, because they often get
of course. I sometimes I even stay in the factory because it's like a kitchen.
Yeah.
They bring the leaves and it's on few hours or next day tea is ready. It depends on the technology. For example, for oolongs it sometimes takes up to 3 days. For some teas it's even longer, like Luan Chao, for example. It's just they make in Moychay, which is same product in spring, but the final roasting they make in autumn, in September, which is really uncommon thing. And for rock tea, for example, they make first Moychay also in spring. After that, they make 3 roastings month by month till August. And although a lot of teas have huge varieties of technological processes, which I can say, there is my book somewhere. Eli, can you please give my book? It's in Russian, but I will, it's here, but it's in Russian, but next week it will be published in English. And we will receive it here like 3 weeks later. It's called Geography of Chinese Tea. Of course, we will be pleased to say not only about China and Taiwan, it's China and Taiwan, but because it's a base, which most of teas came from, so mostly it's only will be about China and Taiwan, and you can browse the pictures because it's all was made by me, all pictures, 8 years of work, but yeah, it's in Russian, but you can look for pictures at least. And I explained a lot of technology, and some farmers in Georgia and Russia use this book for a study for technology, because some technologies explain it pretty well. With timing and temperatures and so on, and also these technologies can be used for herbs, for example, because like Russian villa herb, which also have here a lot, and not a lot, but it exists here, as I know. And also some fruit tree leaves, like apple tree, like plum, like a lot of any kind of fruit tree, also suitable for manufacturing fermented leaves, and it's pretty tasty. We have it in our assortment also, like our tea cakes, which is like also mostly it's our own mixed trees, mixed herbs,
What about this tea?
Yeah,
It's
I just
it's
too many information. I'm trying to. You can stop me for a while for some questions because I just. Yeah. First, I tell about this tea. Yeah.
this tea.
How does it done? It's harvest very early spring, around maybe February. Before harvesting of tea, there comes like kind of a bud, which is only can be found on the wild-grown tea trees, and it's have often purple color. It is completely different because it's different cultivar. Often it's not Camellia sinensis, but Camellia thaliensis, or other cultivars of tea tree, which is in Yunnan pretty a lot. And also it's a completely different taste.
Is that the purple?
Smells like a black currant. Actually.
Yeah, it's often, you know, even from the same region, year by year can be a little bit different in taste. I can recognize it sometimes. Wow, what is it? Yeah, this year it was more rain, or a little bit later harvesting, or a bit dried and a little bit more stronger sun or whatever. Because the farmer product, it's very difficult to be like a stable supply, which is very difficult for us actually, because I'm still stay on this, even if the not so small already. We have 23 projects for now, 3 countries, and yeah, as soon as you focus on this farmer product, you always need to educate your clients and your guests and your staff. What tea always changing. Never ever. It's impossible. Which is why big companies, they need to take a huge amount of teas, mix it up, add some flavoring, because we need absolutely the same flavor each year. With some types of teas like Indian tea, Sri Lankan and Kenyan, and even some Chinese types, it's possible, but not with a huge assortment. It's possible only by maybe 20, okay, 50 types. You can bring pretty stable quality and pretty stable taste each year, but it also will be a little bit different. But if you're talking about huge assortment, like 100, 300, 500 types, it will be always not the same. Even, for example, I didn't travel some region, and next year we don't have it because I don't want to buy it. How to, oh, please send me samples, blah, blah, blah. Even now I have 2 employees in China. They first try 2 steps, try out. After that, they send as soon as they can. This year, even samples I waited for more than a month. Regularly, I just waited for 1 day because I'm just on the factory, or I'm staying in China in some place, and I received something from other provinces because I can't travel all the provinces at once. But I spent, for 10 years, I spent like half of time in China. So pretty long, but still not enough. You must have like clones. Yeah, yeah, but it's a kind of fanatic type of work, because a lot of people just, why do you do it? It's not needed. You can just order and they will send it to you, but each time it will be not actually you need. Yeah, question? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We live in a very cheap time, yeah, now.
Yeah.
So a lot of information, but very ignorant people. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the question is, this is one tea that's not cheap.
Yeah.
We live in Netherlands. It's a very cheap people.
Cheap people?
Cheapy. You really.
You know, you made greedy, or
Yeah. You always
All
look
of
for
them.
the price. Yeah, my husband is Netherlands. He understands. But and then you talk about education. I like this part.
yeah.
How you can education.
It's slowly. It's very hard work.
Yeah.
It's very hard work because it's not Netherlands. Is not like only the country people count the money. It's anywhere, and yeah. But for instance, we know if someone of you drink alcohol, you know that it's okay to have some kind of bottle of wine for 1,000 euro, and yeah, you know it's expensive, but you know that it's okay to have. It's okay to buy for some special reason and whatever, a special holiday, and with tea, we also have the same. Like with a lot of each product can be not cheap because it's really exclusive product. It's maybe not a very good comparison, but in total, tea is really close to wine if you compare the area, the technology, the type of teas, cultivars, and also geographical special things, and a lot of options which it can be done under this place. This is a very small plantation, which is like 5 trees and no more. We can find more. So this is a very complicated. It's even can be told, even if I just make a lecture for 10 hours, it will be not enough if I only try to specialize only this question. but in real, you will see that you will feel it by taste. If you have a good taste, if you feel that, you will recognize it, because you just compare. Okay, I try something completely different, and if I brew it like for 10 times and it still give me the taste, and I feel a little bit of changing of my mind, because good tea contains more caffeine, more other vitamins, more other content actually, which must be in tea, because if you be talking about tea bags or tea material, which is actually not a tea, often it's tea but very poor quality, you'll not feel that. You just drink some colored water with sugar or whatever, and this is why also people start add some sugar, because before, no one adds any sugar into tea. But yeah, we will try some. I'm looking for black tea special, but can't find it. Hojicha special, Marutaka, Benifuki. Yes, special. Great.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's more about how you make the tea.
Yeah.
I don't have that much experience.
Yeah.
What I see is that you put it in and put the water in.
Yeah.
And actually, immediately you put it in.
Yes.
And is that because how I make tea is like, okay, and I look at the color like, oh, I guess now it's good.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, but you can actually just.
Yeah, I will explain it. It's very easy. Just, you see, very small vessel, small teapot, small, which is called gundaobei, or.
And you cannot actually not even see how it's. So
Yeah.
I just see you pour it, like, oh, is that the way?
It's kind of also I have kind of experience, but regularly it's good to have weight. You can weight like maybe for this teapot it will be like 10 grams or something, and you pour it by taste also, because for example you can keep it for longer, it will be stronger. You can put less tea, it will be lighter in the same time. So you have time, you have amount of tea, you have temperature, you have a size of vessel, and it all can be changed by your taste. So you can all the time you can experiment, and when you have a good tea what you like, I get, oh great, nice taste. So this means that you can.
Nice, but this is like 5 seconds. Like I would be like, So
I already. I just drink to change working for me. It's just other type of brewing. For example, if I will have a big pot, I have the same amount of tea. I need to wait a few minutes. But with a small pot, I can not wait. And this way of brewing, which called in Chinese pincha or gunfucha. Pincha is just a tasting of tea. Gunfucha is a kind of more ceremonial way. And then you just focus on more detailed brewing, more smooth movement of any objects, and you also concentrate on tea more than on talking, and so on. Pretty similar style of brewing, just more concentrating on details. Now it's not the both. It's actually maybe worst pincha can never happen, because I just brew and talk in the same time, so it's a little bit easier. This is a Japanese black tea, which we actually don't have for now here, but I hope we will have it later, because it's interesting type. But mostly when you talk about Japanese tea, anyone think about green tea, because it's matcha, gyokuro, sencha, all the famous Japanese teas. It's rarely you can find any kind of black tea from Japan, but it is maybe if I just I really tried it. It was the best from 3 samples. One was really not so good. Also, Japanese teas we never throw away first brew. Yeah, we drink it.
This is like the last harvest from the last harvest.
Yeah. This is a harvest from May this year also. So it's a new sample. I just received it because I was here for couple of weeks, so it's just I brewed pretty strong. So yeah, maybe even stronger than you have habit to drink, because it's my bad habit. I didn't drink alcohol, no cigarettes, whatever, drugs of course also no. But yeah, I like strong tea and drink it pretty much. Not,
Still can get high.
yeah, you still can get high. Yeah. Especially after today's session, I 100% guarantee you will get it. But what I can say, if you have any problem with the blood pressure, heart, whatever, if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, just tell me. Maybe stop, drink less, or I give you water or whatever. Just it's really important. Also, didn't recommend it to drink a big amount of tea on empty stomach, which is not good. But all the rest, I think I never heard any bad.
Okay, that's too late.
Too late.
It's okay. It's okay. Eat a big snack,
Immediately
eat a big
after
snack.
sessions, go to the
Eat
taxi.
quickly.
Eat quickly.
Why is it so?
What?
Why is it so? Is it
Yeah.
because it absorbs?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Immediately.
Your stomach start working because it's not a water actually, it's a tea, and the stomach think that it's some product, but it's not contain any proteins or whatever. So it's not bad, but not recommended. How to say? If you do it like 1-2 times, nothing happen. But if you do it like for 10 years, I think you will have problems.
After 100 years.
Yes. After you made it for 150 years, you understood, I have some problems with health. Yeah. Now we only started, and because it's just, I call these teas like a starters, it's starters, because it's, this one is harder a little, because also it's unique. You see, Japanese tea is also difficult to brew because it's small fraction often, the same as green tea, the same black tea. So it's extract very strong. And
immediately.
And also because I have a habit to brew Chinese teas, they are more delicate, and I just put a little bit more than needed, maybe. Okay. Yeah, so this is why it's a little bit stronger. But also today we will try some very special teas a little bit later. We will not focus only. I just try to be wide with very different tastes from different types of fermentation, different type of technology. So I think this is pretty interesting. And back to the style of brewing, we have a vessel which goes gaiwan, which is like cup and the lid actually. Right. Yeah, so this is very easy to use, and you can also control the same process, but it's more common for Chinese to use that. You didn't have it before, or?
I will skip this one.
Because too strong, okay. Who wants stronger one? Okay. Also.
You want?
There are a lot of coffee drinkers here. So.
For those who drink coffee, this is will be like. Back to your question about the pricing and education. I didn't answer it fully, as I think. It's sometimes difficult, but I think the main thing that we don't sell actually only the tea. For my feeling, we sell the type of consuming and the culture, and because if it's became a part of your life, it's not like just switching from tea bags to good quality tea. You didn't feel much so big difference. You will feel only part of this difference, but then you also change water. You'll buy good water, exactly. Not that like a tap water. Yeah. It's one of the most important things. Yeah. It's much better than most of the places. But if you just buy good water with at least 7 pH, at least later on I will have some article.
I want to know which water you buy there.
I can't recommend 100% any brand, because brand water also constantly changing. Even just common bottled water from supermarket will be better than tap water, at least. But later we can just try. Maybe Oliver can recommend, because
Do you add some carbon
more.
to it?
No. For now we just take water, but we have a kind of technology which we later bring here. When we have this filter, osmosis filter, and after that we add some carbonates on the exact level what we need, and we have it already. And for example, coffee market have it also, but we especially make a long time research for that. So we will have this a little bit later here also.
So you will sell like this?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it will be. You can just buy distillate the same distillate water, and you add this small bag, which is very cheap, of these carbonates, and just and you have 10 liters of good water, which is suitable for a certain type of tea, because it will be 3 types for highly fermented, middle fermented, and low fermented teas. So for each type will be special water. I hope next year we will bring it here, because we will need to prepare some documents, because it's a food safety and whatever. With tea, it also takes a lot of time here, which is why we have a little bit reduced assortment than in other countries. About water, and also, of course, the type of brewing. The teapots, what guy wants, all these Chinese tea ceremony vessels. Then you switch completely to this, you will feel a whole range, a big difference. And it also will be not like, oh, I drink some tasty tea. It's also part of your life, small meditation practice. And it takes some time, of course. You need some small place, even big place. For example, I'm at home, have 6 places where you can drink tea in each room, in each place. There, here, on everywhere, even outside. 7 outside 7. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and it's I can sit in any place, and I have already prepared place for tea drinking. Okay. And the main problem when you start drinking tea and consuming it this way, and if you just buy tea tray and place it somewhere on the shelf, never do that. Find small table and put it. Didn't remove it. And you will constantly use it. Your friends came, your family came, you just drink together, and it's very good option for, I could call it like best communication framework. Because easy talk, easy walk, you're not drunk, your mind is clear, but you little bit state of consciousness is different. So this is I think this is the most important about tea, and which is the most difference you will feel. Maybe you can, at some point you may not feel much different in taste, but this consuming will change your mind.
There's also different in process, like in eating, you're distracted.
Yes.
It's like really a still silent moment.
Yeah, it's the same. For example, we go to some restaurant and you eat from beautiful plates and nice forks, and also quality of fish in this restaurant is much better than from supermarket fish. So the tea is also a product which is we try to bring like the best what we can. So we'll switch to next one. I'm trying to also brew, not only talking, because sometimes it's
So we go
to tea from Colombia. Actually, we will brew like 2-3 times, no longer, because for me it was very simple tea, not very high level quality, but just for you to know how it is, Colombian tea. I think you never try it, and also try it for the first time day before, because we received the samples. But what I can say that maybe they have something better. We will try some other, which is I not tried before. A huge box, not box is small, but a huge amount of samples. And so it's oolong.
That's all Colombian tea.
Te oolong Andes oscuros, темный oolong, black oolong from from Andes. Green tea, maybe try this green tea or.
Okay, so we're gonna be here for a long time.
Oh, TP oolong. I tried. It's not good. I was shocked. So this is why,
Maybe off the top, what is your personal favorite tea?
I didn't try it most of these teas. I just received it and tried few, and from 3 types I tried, only one I think is something. I will open first.
I mean, just in general, what is your
in general, I prefer aged teas. We will later on try out, because most of the people who was in my degustation, one of the priority is what I bring something really special. Sometimes it's not we have in sale, or sometimes some samples. And I also, because before I just I tried to introduce you to the teas what we have in stock. We will have also some of those, but mostly I want to share something really special, which I only can share on these sessions, because it's not a big amount. I don't have like in tons or kilos. Sometimes it's just 1 bag or 3 kilos at home. I can store it for eternity. I just want to share it for you to know and keep will go out of the box, so this is my main goal in these meetings. Yeah, this is a green tea actually, and when I feel from the smell, it's very highly fried, and I didn't know is it technology good or not, but we'll just try it. It's maybe very very easy tea, but I will first try it because if it's not good, I will just throw it away.
That's a nice technology with the lid, and that you just leave it and it just runs out.
Yeah. Sometimes it's it belongs to the shape of the teapot and the shape of gundaba. You just if it's not fit each other, so it's not working. What we see from the color, you see it's not clear. It means that it's fried on very high temperatures, and a lot of small pieces of leaves go to the tea soup. Actually, so this is the third thing. So good quality tea, transparent.
Right.
Even if it's black tea or red tea, how Chinese call it, it's also still transparent, like ruby color. So this tea, this first thing, I will try, but no. You try just a little. You can just a little bit.
I want to know how to recognize not good tea, so I want to try it. Thank you.
But it also smells like a little bit.
Burnt or too hard. Maybe also harsher technology or whatever. Yeah, and also cultivar. Maybe I think is not Camellia sinensis, but Camellia assamica, which is mostly present in India, Sri Lanka, and Kenya, and whatever. Okay. But
it tastes more watery also.
Yeah, it's. I just don't want brewed for next time, because I think we will find nothing in next brew. It's just you right now. You captured a small piece of my work. Right. Sometimes I drink 100 types of teas, completely sorry shit. I can drink it, but I need to drink it because I need to try new types. Yeah, so yeah, I need to find. And sometimes, just once I had a very sad story when we traveled across Yunnan, and we tried for 3 days. We drink bad tea because it was in a region when all the farmers were focused on very poor quality technology. Just they care about only about the pricing. They want to sell it like cheap, and they don't care. We just harvest in correct way. We manufacture in correct way. And we can't rid of it after we leave this region. Oh yes, finally, after 3 days of drinking bad tea, we can switch to something else. So yeah, so this is just part of my work. You receive it, and you will never ever drink something like that. Sorry, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but it gives a little impression of Dachau.
Maybe in some point because of the roasting. This is because it's pretty not a similar technology, but if you fry the leaves, you will have a similar taste. It also a little bit have umami, like Japanese teas have. But the main thing that because of over roasting, thank you, it's it's not actually a good choice of technology for this type of leaves, I think. So we slowly switch. First we will drink something which is also very special. It's called Lao for Shou Cha, which means Lao, it means aged. For Shou, it's a hand of Buddha. Cha, it means tea. So this is an aged for Shou tea from Guangdong province, mainly in China, and it's fried. So it's kind of oolong, which is called Chao. Cha is fried tea. Translation, and this oolong is really different from most of oolongs because it's really strong. I will try to put less because we have too many strong teas for us. Yeah, put a little bit less. It's difficult to brew it not too strong because it's so it's frying on low temperature for a long time, like 8 hours. So it's very fermented and very strong. And some people who really like coffee, it's the best choice. And also it's very energizing. Yeah. So
for 8 hours.
Fried for 8. Yeah. I also have a movie on YouTube about that. Even I think in English YouTube I also have. If you're interested, you can just browse Chao or you will find it. So this is very specialty. especially technology. For example, regular oolongs, they didn't roast for so long. It's just pretty fast to keep them fermented around 30% to 50 sometimes, but no more. And this is more fermented. It's closer to maybe black teas in some point. So yeah, this is good. I forgot to say I just bought it especially for ceremony today. yeah. Because for empty stomach is. Yeah, I try first.
Can you tell us how it affects our mind and our nervous system?
You will feel it now. because you know all the effects, all the the feelings from tea, it's completely personal, 100% personal. And what I can say, sometimes some people just can drink it, and after that they can go to bed to sleep. Some people can dance for all night on the tea, because for example, I was a DJ for more than 10 years before tea, and this was, how to say, my perfect drug. Because as soon as my wife worked for 5 years in one of the first Moscow tea clubs, and I had it's in Yakimanka, China. It's not the Eastern or other one more famous club, but actually first Moscow tea club now belongs to us. We just bought it 3 years ago. Yeah. And so and she just worked there, and I slowly come into tea through her, and I start to present tea on my parties and share it with other DJs and friends, and it was like a small tablets of puer, which is little look like some other pills. Something else, but it's and I said, this is energize you didn't need amphetamine, just drink tea. I said, great. And it started working, and we even have an idea made in the Netherlands, because it's motherland of all rave festivals, so it's why not try it here, because it's really working, energizing, and good for health. Or good for health, actually.
Like the raw chocolate craze, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
People realized that raw chocolate is.
Cacao.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
And it's health.
Party, someone said like I was addicted to
It's
chocolate. Said, like, try it 100%. You won't eat that much.
Yeah.
You still eat it. At least I find myself still eating it.
So much magnesium that you relax, so you just get so relaxed.
I try to don't brew it very strong, so it's lighter taste a little, which is good, because if you brew it too strong, it will be like.
In the morning, on an empty stomach, I also drink like ginger. With water.
Yeah.
Would that also not be that well to drink on empty
This is maybe yes. I think that on empty stomach, if you drink any active product like tea or ginger or any, for example, like very spicy food, you also must mix with not spicy food. If you just drink only like pepper, it will be not good for stomach anyway. Okay. And the same, so say any very active substances, which is tea also, and not good for empty stomach. But I'm not a doctor, so I can't recommend it in detail, but what I know about tea, take a little bit of food. And for example, if you drink a lot of tea and you feel uncomfortable, like tea drunk or not, just some sweets, and that's okay. Just some dried fruits and nuts, which is why also we serve nuts, because nuts don't spoil the taste. For example, if you just take something stronger like candy, it will didn't give you a feeling about tea.
But you're selling some things on your website.
We're selling some, but it doesn't mean that you need to buy and you need to do it together with tea. So just something after tea or before.
In the description,
it
mentions the
Okay, this is a commercial issue. For example, we even sell milky oolong, but I didn't recommend you to buy it. But we sell it. Sorry. I really, but I always recommend, if you want to buy milky oolong, try Tiguanyin oolong, or try some maybe Taiwanese oolong or whatever, because it's natural and it's pretty similar taste, but it's not so strong milky flavor, and you didn't need this strong milky flavor actually. So this is you just you will bring more, how to say, you start more delicate feeling. You will increase your your delicacy feeling, how to say. My English is very bad, but I hope you understand.
And doesn't milk also take out a lot of compounds?
Yes.
It like really takes them.
But there's not milk. There's not milk. If it will be milk.
Raw milk. I mean, raw
yeah.
unpasteurized milk.
Yeah, maybe you can do the tea on the milk if you like. It will be much interesting than oolong, milky oolong, because it's a natural milk. And if you like, there is a special recipe like boiling tea, like boiling tea on water. You know, like boiling tea on big glass pot for 2 liters. You can change the water to milk. And we will have very interesting introduction. You can ask our master, especially Olga. She works here. You can ask which day she is scheduling. She can explain this method in detail, how to make it. Yeah, and she can do that.
Yeah,
I think.
Indeed, that's what I wanted to say. You can get this done for you here, just like this tea ceremony.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can also have it here. Yeah, if you like. So you will see it for one time, and you can take it. Cake with tradition to home. Yeah.
So in the future, you will give some workshop, teach us how to do the tea or something like that.
Why not? We can, and even now it's also kind of workshop. You can ask any questions, which I already do. So yeah, main thing that I'm not doing a good ceremony. I think if you, for example, will order ceremony from Oliver, he'll do it better than me because he focus only on tea, not on talking too much. You should just more attention. And also when you brew 1-2 teas, you have a little bit more time. But now we just try. So this is other purpose, our goal today. We have just to imagine ourselves with something new which you didn't try before or tried but other type. Or so this is just, yeah, I will change the tea for some other. Yeah, of course, when I'm here, I always try to do more master classes or whatever. I will get back in November. This month I will leave on next week on Thursday, 7th, but I will definitely get back. I'm constantly moving. So yeah, because I was lucky that we already, can't say that we are very successful, but we're already pretty good growing for last very good feedback from but I really like that local Russian friends, all the cake spots, international community. I really like that Amsterdam is like a cross-culture hub for anything, and I really love that, and we have a lot of partners who interested in other countries inside Europe, so I need to be here anyway. I will. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was shocked to find this place here.
Yeah.
I was almost about to order from Russia, so I was just curious.
It's really for us. It's so many people tell me that, so I just say only thing I'm enjoyed. Thank you very much.
I was surprised to have found it, and actually everybody who I talk about or speak about, even when I have the cup, the takeaway.
Yeah.
Everybody's really interested, and I told them like, yeah, I'm really gonna go. And everybody's really super excited.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is because if you didn't make the club, it's very difficult to explain this product because it's complicated. How to brew, how to try, and we need to more focus on education and showing how to do that. And through this we can do. But if we just build a small shop, it's useless. No one understands. Yeah. So this is actually the club, the culture club.
How did it open this time?
From March, we just opened it in March, and only as a club we opened from June because till June it was prohibited to work as a club. We only work as a shop. Yeah, so yeah, after the June, so just it was like finally open on 10th or something, like or 4th of June, yeah. So not so long.
How many locations do you have?
In Amsterdam 1, and in Europe also 1, and then 1 in Tbilisi, and 22 in Russia, in 11 cities. Yeah, so it's pretty big chain, not huge, but big, not small, because it's a funny thing to say that maybe it's only one chain of tea clubs because we only have like 3 to 4 bars, which is a small shop, but all the rest is just a real club like this, maybe not so good made, because not so well made, because we started 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago almost. So that time we didn't have so much money, so it more primitive in some designs and so on, but it still is. We even have one club which I just made my own by Shou in Moscow, a very small one. But also we have a next one, and after the next one, and now we're building new, and I keep all them. Didn't change any design, and people just, wow, it's also Moychay. Oh, we're so small. Oh, well, it's also Moychay. Oh, so big. So just not maybe not so good concept, but I just like to save it like a museum of how it was, how it was 12 years ago.
Yeah, so you have also a different experience coming into the shop.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Because I think that actually the tea club, it's a living space, and people enjoy to see the difference. Don't feel, oh, it's all the same like McDonald's or
it's much better.
so it's not like it's each club have atmosphere, and for me it's very important to find the leader or few leaders from one club, and they rule in some their own way in some point. Also in design, we make all the clubs different design, so each project for me is also important. We focus on it. Well, we don't have like 500 clubs yet, but so we had more time to make it on a good level. But also you just don't think about too much quantity, but more on quality. Yeah. So this is why we regularly open 3-4 clubs here. This year we opened this Amsterdam club and Tbilisi in Georgia, and Novorossiysk in Russia, and also this year 2 more clubs in Russia under construction. So 5, 6, but no more, because it's you need to really spend time on it. This tea, what we will brew now, it's also very special one. This is from my personal collection. It's a wild oolong, which is really rare. Why? Because regularly when we talk about wild trees, which is come from wild tea trees, it's a tea from Yunnan, actually, mostly. Also, there are some wild tea trees in Sichuan province and Guangxi province, which is like on a border with Yunnan province. But most of people didn't even hear about there is also exists wild oolong tea trees, not bushes, because we know that existing tea bushes, oolong tea bushes, but of course then they come from the trees. But these trees not so, we still not have it in big amount, and also because of the deforestation in some periods of time, and also because no one protect them, and also because no one needed them actually. And but in the border of Guangdong and Fujian province, there are a few places like Pinhe, Xian, this is like district, and also Zhangzhou, and also Nanjing, and these 3 regions, there is existing pretty big trees like that, maybe like 200 years old or 300 years old, which is oolong. So oolong is a very special cultivar, which is more sweet in taste. It's completely different with other cultivars, and you just try it, and a little bit bitter. You see, with bitterness, which is bitterness all the time belongs to the wild grown tea, which is why a lot of but it's delicate bitterness, not like strong.
So what you call this like gushu?
Yeah, it's also can be called gushu oolong, but I didn't call it any special name. It's came from Pinhe district, and it's from these trees. After some time ago was made the selection of tea which called bioactive, which is a Chilan with a white bot. It's a beautiful orchid, tea from. It's also kind of oolong tea, but now it's not. If you compare this to bioactive, completely different, very special taste.
So what's the difference between the wildly grown? Because I feel.
Wildly grown. Main difference: the soil. The soil is not agriculture exploited. So you just see you feel all the amount of minerals and elements which contain in a real natural soil, which is the most important thing. For now, all our food which we eat is demineralized 100%, which is why we all order these boxes of vitamins and because we don't have it. Whereas, for example, we didn't have SOD. Even Russia, all the territory didn't have SOD. No, and we didn't have a zinc. It's also a very low amount. And when then fertilizers use it, we use some kind of, but only like a bigger amount of. But microelements, no. And most of food, which is why wild-grown herbal, what we have, it's also cheap source of minerals and vitamins. And the same with wild-grown tea, but wild-grown tea much more expensive than herbs because it's need to be cultivated or guided anyway. Not cultivated, but you need to keep attention on them. And also because of very low amount of these trees. Only one village where I was, they have like 200 trees and that's it. So we're harvesting maybe 200 up to 700 kilos from this village and that's it. It's not a big amount, absolutely.
Well,
And
it's also like think about like how many people would actually connect with that tea
yeah.
in the world.
Small
and
amount.
that's exactly.
Yes, it's regularly this kind of teas. It's impossible to buy outside China, not because they didn't get it out, because it's just bought sometime in the same day they manufacture it. You need to arrive in direct place and buy it now, pay now in cash, or tomorrow you can find it. But some teas you can buy, of course, but it will be much more expensive.
So that's why it's in your personal collection.
Yes. Of course, it's accessible. You can find something or some Chinese platforms, but it's also difficult. Often, then they offer something to the market. They didn't offer good quality just for anyone. They prefer to sell it for more expensive price to people who really want it. And even if you, for example, when I'm in China, I'm often spend a lot of time for a new supplier to explain who am I. Because I just arrived to some shop or some factory, I say, oh, please give me some tea. And they give me first very cheap quality tea or bad tea for high price. And I say, no, I know the price. This must cost this price, please give me good quality. And I bring something else which is a little bit better, but not...
But they're keeping the best quality.
Yeah, and they keep it, not all of them. Of course, often we receive very, very honest, very open heart. They just say, wow, it's leider. It's to Chinese, I speak Chinese, better than English, a little, yeah. And then when you arrive to some villages like at Ufo landed in some places where I was in some place in Moychay County, northern Guangdong province, and it's called Xiang, and I was there like 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, and I looks like a first foreigner there because there was a small bus station, and very old lady, she worked on this bus station, and she said, I worked here for 40 years. And for the first time, I see any foreigner here, so it's very funny. And then farmers in this region see someone. Of course, you're like very interesting. Wow, something happened, and they often very open heart to you and give you good prices and didn't hide any good quality tea from you. Just it depends. It's not all time the same, but especially in the places which is like a lot of tourists or a lot of foreign businessmen, of course, yeah, like markets in Guangdong, Guangzhou or Beijing. Of course, it is not feasible my needs. But I was there in the beginning. In Malindao, tea market is very famous in Beijing, and also a very famous market in Fanzhong, which is the biggest tea market in the world. Actually, you can find something there, of course. Anyway, but for me, it's not needed because, of course, work directly with farmers is way better. So this is pretty interesting. Yeah, you feel a little bit taste of oolong, but not like common oolong tea. We will have something like this in the spring, because I already prepare some material from this region, and I hope I will receive maybe in next May. Something from there, just because it was I only had like 20 kilos and we sold out it in 1 week in Moscow, and because it's not a big amount, and I keep for me like 1 kilo and still use it. for some way. These rare teas, which I just explained in the beginning, often when China open again, we will have situation like that. This year we have 300 types of teas. Next year we have like 450, and half of them is new, which is never seen before. And next year we have like 100 we didn't have, but we have other 200 or other 70 or whatever. It's always changing. And what I just like to say, if you really like some tea, really in love with tea, especially if it's puer, if it's something that can be stored, buy it for a little storage for a while. With green tea, it can be 1 year, no longer recommended. With black tea, 2 years. With the puer, eternally. And even with oolong, you just close it very strict like that, just don't get oxygen let go inside. Especially with fermented oolongs, it's okay, and all aged tea, of course. But lighter oolongs like tiguanine are also not recommended to store longer than 1 year.
Just
Yeah. So it's just buy a drink. But yeah, if you really like something, it's not constantly all the time you have it. Some types like maybe matcha or bestsellers like 15-20 types we have all the time. But some teas can be like we don't have for half of a year or even for 2 years. But after that, again we have, because often we also have situation when this region have a bad weather or I just don't like the tea of this season and I don't buy it. I don't want to sell it.
The ones that are, but that's also something that customers are not used to, because they buy one thing and they want to have the same quality over and over and over.
This is they just focus on the imaging. So amazing anyone, and as soon as we have this concept is very strange, because a lot of people say, why don't constantly have all the time all the teas, just make it regularly? I say it's impossible if we keep this way of harvesting, way of buying. It can be possible in some point, but not for all types anyway. Impossible, especially during the corona. This summer here it was okay because we have some stocks, but in Moscow it was all sold out, and we have 20% of stocks, 20% of assortment during June and July. It was absolutely killing. We have very low income in this period in Russia, but after we received first container in August and after September, it was huge delay, like for 2-3 months for some goods. So it was really crazy, but now it's okay, happily. So the last brew of this oolong, if you like, you can just take from here. Yeah, and I switch to something else.
How many brews do you make?
I didn't count. I didn't count for some teas.
To make 10,
up to 10, even up to 15 for some types, especially with Taiwanese oolongs or some aged teas, which you will try now.
50?
15.
15,
50, I think it's impossible, but it's possible if you just brew and put huge amount of tea. It may be possible, but not 50 anyway. I think 25, no more than 25. But it also depends of style. You can put more, take bigger vessel, or you can take water of lower temperature. Because, for example, now I'm brewing all 100 degrees, but only because of it's not useful for this style of meetings. Like where's my under the table? Did you see that? Yeah, we will switch to something really special now. I have.
It's opposite, but it's actually going down the blood pressure. It's actually going down the blood pressure. It's going to.
So you have a nifty.
Great. We have a good test model.
And you're letting the company know what what it is.
Yeah, how we will do. Okay. So next tea is aged Sheng Puer, which is I think a lot of people like it. Yeah. I will brew. This is also from my personal collection. We didn't have the same here, but we have a lot of different variety of Sheng Puer aged. Guys can recommend. And also later we have 2 more teas, which is we have here, which is our the best teas from the collection. This is tea from Chantai Tea Factory. I was there also like almost 7 years ago, and this tea I bought in that travel, and for that time it was like almost 10 years old now, maybe like 15 years old, maybe even more. A little, maybe about 18 years old. Tea.
This you bought 18 years ago.
No. I bought it 6 years ago, but oh yeah, thank you very much.
You would do like a separate teapot for the puer.
It's great to use it like that, but sometimes, for example, when I travel, I have 2-3 pots, and I regularly don't have ability to keep all the pots for like so.
To separate.
Yeah, to separate is difficult while traveling. But in the club, we try to, at least we didn't brew the same tea, like white tea, and after that pour in the same teapot.
Is that because of the flavor?
Yeah. You will after that if you take teapot for white tea after the Sheng Puer, for example, you will feel it. That it's not something not so good, not so tasty. This is with Chantai Tea Factory. We have pretty famous brand called Chao. So this is from this brand. They have traditional characters, but with this design, a lot of fakes. The same as like I will show you other design, which if you have any relation with tea, you'll of course seen that before. Yes. This this design means nothing. Absolutely. You can just on the same design you can find like hundreds, thousands of tea cakes, which can be sold on AliExpress for $10, like tea from 50s, $5, free delivery, international, blah blah blah. But it's just dust from the Shanghai cabbage, not from tea. I don't know. Last year was a very sad story for those who was investigated by Shanghai police. They found a huge factory near Shanghai. They are some company. They specially made these old papers by tea which was stored in very wet conditions, so it very fastly became darker color, and cover it in like, oh, this is aged, real aged old puer tea. And it was disgusting, and it was very good that China also fight these fakes, and for years it was like crazy. A lot of people buy this tea and they think that it's real.
So that happens all the time, basically.
Of course, because it's a huge market. It can be like 1,000 euros, 3,000, 10,000, 20,000 euros or whatever for one cake. And and of course it's but funny thing, sometimes if you find like a fake but not for expensive price, it's also good tea, because they just name it with some incorrect name, but it's still drinkable. So main thing for me, I can guarantee that it's 100% tea from, which is our 98. I think this is 100%. But if I talk about something from 70s or 80s, you can be sure 100%. But if you drink and you feel, wow, it's a great tea, the price is reasonable, okay, what's the problem? So this is the main problem. You drink and you feel, and it's only about quality. But it's the main thing. But from this collector is our Taiwanese friend. We work with him 9 years already, 10 years, next year will be 10 years. So I really trust him, and he all the time was very good. But I'm talking about next one, not about the tea. What we with puer, I all the time recommend didn't drink the first one, because first infusion it's. Is
that to like a fishy taste?
No, sometimes was some dust, and I just broke the cake not so properly. My moves now, it's not perfect at all, and just. It's good to have nice masters who do it better.
When you opened this business, did you think that it's going to grow internationally?
Never ever. I just think that we will open a small tea house, and that's it. Maybe later grow to few tea houses, but no more. But it was funny that one guy from small city, not so far from Moscow, it was Lipetsk city, and he was the first, can I open the same tea house under your brand? Right. And for that time I even don't know the word franchising. Right. I just say, okay, buy some tea from you and take my name, okay. And after that he started, and it slowly just became good club. After that others slowly started, and it's like.
But here you opened it yourself.
Yeah, here we opened by ourselves, because it's also, of course I have a partner, my good friend, and he's from Russia, but Yeah,
He knows the business.
he don't know the business here, same as me. It's absolutely crazy, 100% crazy idea to invest 1 million euros in something in Netherlands. Anyone I told this story, say, you're going crazy. You can buy real estate, like a few flats in Moscow, whatever, blah blah blah, and you can invest it in some other projects. I say, no, we will try to do this thing. I think this concept will work because what I see from our present experience, we only work like 4 months. We already have, what I already said, very positive feedback, and and it's constantly growing, and also because it's unique concept. Across Europe, there's not so many places like that. I have some in Prague and France, maybe like 10 tea clubs across Europe, maybe 15. That's it. So it's and they, most of them are just very small, and they don't have a huge assortment. They don't have ambitions for scaling. So this is what I want to say. The only one chain of tea clubs. A lot of chains of tea shops, but no chain of tea clubs. So this is interesting, and I really trying to still. To all the time keep attention on that we are not making the same clubs. We all the time doing some new concept, all the time looking for some uniqueness in each project. This is, I think, also very important thing. Even in Russia, when some investors came, we looking and they value this, that we closed only 4 projects for all the time, and it was not because of financial problems. It was because of people broke the agreements because they start to sell other companies' tea, for example, or whatever. So it was not about it was not unsuccessful. It was because they can't rule that or break the agreement. Yeah, we focus a lot on product first and keep some uniqueness. For example, this tea tray we do by our own. All our glass is also branded, and all our teapots, most of teapots branded. And this pottery I do in my backyard is a wood-fired pottery. So most of products is unique, at least.
It's also made through Chao.
Yeah. And we developed more than 1,000 products, and still developing a lot. And also with herbal tea cakes. It's my partner Alex. He, the same as I focused on tea, he focused on herbs. Oh, nice. And he traveling all around Russia in close countries, and also we bring some herbs from China, and also planning to take something from Europe here, because we here actually maybe we even make same machinery that we've done in Russia, because it's easy, not very easy, but we already developed the machinery. It's not a Chinese machinery, they're made by our own pressing machine, because it's a little bit special for herbs, different than for tea.
Like machinery for processing.
For processing, machinery for drying, fermenting, and also machinery for making tea cakes.
You
which
make oat cakes from herbs.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Which is our. It's interesting to try, because and also we have some mixes, tea and herbs together. Oh, Oliver just bring it to show. Yeah, this is a traditional herbal tea cake. It's the main thing that all herbs is wild grown herbs. No any agricultural herbs.
So very strong.
Yeah, they're rich in vitamins. This is the main thing, that they're really very healthy. And it's also a very good base for any kind of drink. If you like, for example, for someone who drank before teas, teas with flavors and whatever, then they switch to artificial original teas. Sometimes we'll think that we'll lose something, we want some special taste, some sweety flavors, fruity flavors, flowery flavors, and whatever. You can just take a brick, make a small piece of the herbal tea and add to black tea or puer tea, and you will receive very same time healthy, same time sweet and fruity notes, but it's natural, it's without any kind of flavoring. So this is also a lot of people use for, and also it can be brewed regularly, just as you brew.
Decoction.
Yeah. And it's also good for evening. For example, herbal teas, if you want to reduce caffeine and you want calming, we even have a special cake which is called calming cake, which is really like very helps, like mint and others, which is really helps you feel calming effect, and it's help you to. In the evenings, it's very good.
And it's like a wild crafted, or it's like grown like
It's wild crafted, only wild grown. Yeah, so it's because Russia is huge. And for example, right now I traveled to Siberia, to Altai Mountains.
That's crazy.
13,000 kilometers on car driving, and there I just seen that he also helped my partner Alex find some connections in Altai for harvesting herbs. It's a lot, and which I really like that Russia still have, and I hope will have for years. And also in Europe it is also, because I just already talked to some guys in Austria and Bulgaria. We have a lot and a different variety. And I wanted just yesterday, for example, one guy came here with honey from Portugal, and I really love. It's completely different. In Russia, we have a lot of honey, but I just try this Portugal, completely different taste because of different herbs. And we also maybe will sell it because it's very special. I never try something like that.
You also sell honey, right?
Yes, but not. We didn't bring something from Russia here because it's additional documents needed. It's food, other type of food product. So maybe we will just sell local one because it's also pretty similar price. It's aged Sheng Puer. And when I bought it, it was more greenish, and it's more like 10 years old. But now it's almost 18. 18, not 80.
And how do you keep it? I mean, you like to
just
in plastic?
It's not for this. Why it's in plastic? Because it's need to be stopped with fermentation. We close it up, because if you didn't close it up, it will continue fermentation. To keep the taste the same taste, it's better to close it. But with some teas, it depends on the tea, which was stored in Taiwan, and where the humidity is very, very high. And which is why my collector, he packed anything, because if you didn't pack, it will mold it. It can also be spoiled in some point. So first he buy fresh tea, age it for some couple of years, and after 10 years, sometimes after 15 years, he just packs it. Yeah, it's and also about the how many time you can steep it. Almost, I think, more than 10 times already steeped, and still can be still have, because also it belongs to material. The puer material, it's all the time special material from Yunnan province, which is often it's Camellia, not Camellia sinensis, but Camellia sanica. Sometimes it's some mixed up cultivars, and also it contains more caffeine, and it contains more, how to say, chachi, more stronger. So for longer period of time you can it's okay, this one is enough, thank you. So you can brew it for much longer. And also because of compression, because it's pressed cake, it slowly opens, and there's a lot of reasons why it can be brewed for longer time. And also because of aging. Aging it hides all the flavors inside the tea leaf. You didn't feel this freshness as a green tea, for example, you try, or some other teas which is like fresh, but you feel some other like dried fruits notes, some more delicate flavors, like woody notes, or for example, I just joke it sometimes. We can, if we start from this tea, it will be enough.
Right.
But we still have 2 more.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Because
this is so good.
This is why the teas before I just got starters teas.
So we're going to the Anwa.
Which is which natural aging does. It just it became it's always dancing thermoses.
Because this was the Sheng
Puer,
The
aged
Shou is more
Shou is
artificial.
how to say, more
shorter.
Shou technology was made only in 70s, last century. When we talk about puer, and anyone mostly know the Shou Puer, which is ripe puer, which is more darker, sometimes more stronger and less different flavoring, but it was only made in last century, in 70s. Before, they have a similar technology with Chao in Anhui province, in Anhui County in Hunan province, and Guizhou, Guangxi province, and also in Sichuan, in Anhui. There's a lot of different variety of Chao. which called literally it can be translated like black tea, but to don't build a misunderstanding between black tea, which is in China like red tea, Huncha. They now call it dark tea. And this dark tea, very ancient technology, and now it still can be found. We also have some. But Sheng Puer, also using the technology of manufacturing dark tea, was made a special technology of ripening, which we can find with the Sheng Puer, but regularly just made in a couple of months, and it's ready. But it's completely natural technology. First, they make Sheng Puer, harvest fresh leaves, fry it, dry it under the sun. After that, put big sacks. After that, transport to other county. They mostly fermented, like Linsan or like Moychay region. Menku also very famous in Linsan. And there they just make this fermentation for up to 60 days in very big piles. Then you can see that sometimes it's like 20 tons of tea. They water in it and cover the plastic, and because it's modern technology, regularly it's just a cement floor, very huge piles of tea, and they just wait while fermentation starts, and it easily can be molded also, so it's need to control to not get the temperature go too high. Regularly it's about 55 to 60 degrees, and they constantly, sometimes they like refreshing it and add more water or controlling the process. And it naturally go for 60 days around, sometimes longer, sometimes less, and it's a pretty complicated technology. And also we have other type of the same technology. They made it in kind of baskets, bamboo baskets. It's not a new technology, but now it's like a trendy because it's they call it like clean, because it's not on the floor, not like 20 tons, but 200, 300 kilos or 50 kilos sometimes. It's really interesting. I also have some movies about that on the YouTube. If you like, you can watch. It's interesting process. But Sheng Puer also with aging and also changing, of course, especially in first 3-5 years. The watery taste, which came because of this water technology, with ripening technology, comes out, and you feel more delicate flavors also. But of course, aged Sheng Puer is regularly counted as more valuable, more. So people prefer, especially Chinese tea lovers, mostly prefer Sheng Puer, and for the best material mostly used for manufacturing of Sheng Puer. So rarely they use Shou, old ancient tea trees material for Sheng Puer. So this is rarely, but we will have. For example, now we have like only 10% of assortment, what we will have in close 2 years. So we will increase it all the time. And now we on the way 3 parcels, 2 from China, 1 from Russia, which we prepacked especially for Netherlands, and we will have a lot of new teas, also Sheng Puers and a lot of. So we can drink this tea eternally, but I maybe give it to Oliver. Oliver, I will give you this teapot. You can share it with guests. For example, I will brew other one, because it's still drinkable, at least 2 brews, I think. But we can drink it to the, it's a Sheng Puer. Sheng Puer, it's also puer. Yeah.
That's the, okay.
Yeah, so Sheng, it's a type of puer. Actually, we can name 3 big groups, even 4. First is ripe puer, second is Sheng Puer, and also white puer, which some people didn't recognize it as white. We call it's also Sheng, but it's completely different. It's really tastes and looks like white tea. Okay. So this is why I prefer to call it the name, which local civilians in Yunnan province, we call it GABA, which means big white fibers, maybe.
It's like another cultivar.
It's sometimes it's our cultivar, but mostly it's just other technology. So they pick up the bud and they didn't ferment it, they didn't fry it. They prepared under the technology of white tea, which come from Fujian originally. So this is why we see this is a kind of white puer, white Yeah, white tea puer.
But
So
it's aged the same way, like.
yeah, it's also aged and also a little bit different than Sheng Puer and Shou Puer, but also aged.
But it's also expensive, right?
Not very expensive. It depends. We have a lot of, maybe if counting euros, around maybe 15 euros for 100 grams, something not very high. But also some cheaper types. I just prefer to bring as more as I can, but each year, yeah, this year we have like 10 types of white puer. Next year we have 1. After that we have 25 types of Sheng Puer, cheap one. Next year we have 0 cheap and 30 expensive. And each year is just some people didn't like it, but I can do nothing with that. It's impossible. Yeah, so I try bring it as more as I can, but also we have some limits. And why I start scaling it, one of the reasons was that I need to buy more tea. When I came to a factory, okay, I buy all what you manufacture all the time. I said, yeah, great, we can do something for you. And then I came, I need 10 kilos, please separate for 500 gram bags. So, okay, this is your retail price, welcome. Please next time just send me message, don't spend my time. But no, mostly Chinese like to do business even with small companies, but then you're a big company, it's easier, of course. So this is a tea from Xiaguan tea factory, which is very, very famous. It's a Starcon logo, and it still exists. It's a very huge factory. It's located in Dali city, Dali, which is very famous tourist location. Hope someday China will opens up and I can drive you to China. Before I done some kind of tourist attractions of China, but actually it's not a tourist attraction because I'm traveling for tea. I'm select groups, sign the NDA before, because you will see something really special, and we can travel, but now not. And yeah, and in Dali is very beautiful lake and mountains, and they have also the factory. So yeah, this is actually the cake. You see, yeah, it's a little bit, but it's not actually the mold. It just came from the paper often, because paper. So yeah, I just clean it up, and it can be drinkable, and a lot of people drink it, like millions of people drink it. So it's okay, especially me. Yeah, so this is a SEO form. It's rounded and it's compressed, very strong pressure. It's from the 98, and yeah, it was manufactured either under the Chinese government company, which is called Zuncha, like Chinese tea, actually can be translated. And for that time, before 2004 or 2006, I don't remember, there was only possible to sell the tea under the government recognitional brand, not under your own. And it's what all factories was not private enterprises. And after they became slowly private enterprises, there happens a lot of brands which we see now. So all the factories like Moychay, Chachang or Xiaguan tea factory, and it's all belongs to very old factories. Actually, I have a big, rich history. So yeah, I will break the cake. This is very selective also. Oliver, so lovely you bring me new pots for any tea.
98.
98. Yeah, so it's pretty old.
Very intense. Can I smell?
Yeah, of course, I will give you some. How to recognize, is it fake or not? Drink it. Because
I have a Bing at home, like a Tua Bing, like small one,
yeah.
with the same logo somebody gave me. So.
Yeah, it's very famous factory. It's still, you can buy like fresh tea, but why, for example, I didn't sell fresh puer tea. I only sell my own brand because I know that they harvest. For example, I know the county, the Xiaguan tea factory buy material from the farmers. I can also do the same. So I didn't need to buy fresh tea of some brands because I can do the same tea under my own brand. But with aged teas, of course, for that time my company doesn't exist. So I, of course, buy some aged teas.
Yeah, like if something wrong is going down more. 54, right?
Wow, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because also it's very personal with that all. Some people just feel like whoo, some people whoo, and especially with aged teas, and the people who already drink tea for a long time also habits changing, and the reaction of our body is also changing. I will drink a little, but yeah, it's opening. The first brew, especially with pressed cakes, I always recommend don't drink it because also very poor in taste. It's still not open yet, and even second brew and third brew, you will still feel that it's not open finally. Yeah. And especially with compressed and with pours and this tea we have. If you like, you can buy a piece because we can break all the cake. It's from our assortment, so it's accessible. I don't know how accessible it is, but you can buy it if you like. Last one will imagine you a little bit even more.
Wow, it's so different.
Yeah, which I can say about aged teas, which you can even buy absolutely exactly the same tea cake from the same factory. From the same harvesting, because some tea cake they have name, but each harvest it can be a little bit different, and it's completely different in taste. Why? Because for example, this was stored in Kunming, in Yunnan capital, or this was stored in Guangzhou or on Taiwan. Because of the humidity and different year temperatures and different other conditions, it just became fermented in a little bit other way, so you will feel something. Wow, it's something special, strange. And but what we can say about different is
It tastes milder than the other tea. Like
yeah,
real milk.
yeah,
Really nice.
Very good.
yeah. It's a little bit close to Sheng Puer in feeling, because it's also very. You can do the taste. You can do the tests, and also there's a lot of it's even so much, sometimes even too much. Yeah, but mostly about the content of tea, I don't focus too much on that. I focus on the taste and aroma, and this taste and aroma came from minerals which contained in the tea. So if you have rich taste, rich aftertaste, rich aroma, it means that it's rich in content. It can't be like, and this is why we try. There is a very good example. For example, during the spring season, most of places the harvesting with teas is more colder than in summer season, and the tea bud and tea flush grows slower, and it means that it's slowly taking something from the soil. And it contains more chemicals, which must be. And also, during the summer period, it grows 5 times faster. And it's even can appear very beautiful.
So it takes less.
But it takes less from the soil. We compare it in, for example, there is some variety of tea on our plantation in Georgia. There is just a regular variety, we call it Kimun, but it's called from Tihun. From Chinese tea variety, which was brought to Russian Empire in the end of 19th century, and we have 5 hectares, but only like few bushes of other cultivar which called Kolchida, which was discovered by Georgian scientists, Soviet Union scientists for that time, Bakhtadze and other Zurab. We met him. I even filmed a documentary later. Will be possible to look around, yeah, and this cultivar is very beautiful appearing and much more harvesting from this cultivar. But if you compare the taste, it's not worse. It's just much more delicate. Why? Because it takes more material from the same amount of soil. So same root system is not so strong. It's a little bit smaller. And this is why it's okay. It's delicate, it's tasty, but it's not so strong. Just this small difference I really find out because I compared a lot these 2 cultivars because there was not so many cultivars. But what we can say about the purity, because often it's a tree So it have a very rich root system, and especially if it's located in the forest, and not in agricultural land. Yeah.
So the older the tree gets, like the bigger and older, like the less subtle the taste becomes, or more subtle, because it's like a big tree. It sucks in maybe more.
It sucks more, of course, but if it's naturally grown, the tea have time to rebuild itself. If you don't, because what's also the big problem with no recultivation, when you take something from the soil, you must get it back. But if you don't get back, then they collect wheat or they collect soya. They don't get it back, and it's a hugest problem on planet, hugest problem. And the main thing that what I like in Netherlands have a lot of technology for responsible growing of food, which is really good, and I hope it will be transferred to other parts of the world, because in Netherlands here I really like it, and of course it's more research needed for feeding the soil, making soil more more closer to the natural soil, but the main thing, they on the same amount of land, Dutch farmers grow few times more products, and they didn't need to cut the old trees and the jungles to make soil like it's in Brazil or Paraguay, because we're also harvesting, and we also do business for yerba mate. We have it. It's a Paraguayan, Argentinian, South American drink, very famous and very energizing. It contains 5 times more antioxidants than green tea, for example. So it's very good and very boosting. I recommend to try, but not today. It's very good for summertime especially.
How is it called?
Yerba mate. It's like a big, like for 500 grams pack, and you use a special vessel and straw, and drink it for straw, and you can brew it for not. It's bitterish, but it will be not bitter if you brew it correctly. You put not too hot water, like about 60 degrees. Maybe sometimes you can even brew with juice, natural juice, or cold water. Also can be happen, and it's very good. And we also traveled Argentina and Paraguay for this drink, for yerba mate. In Paraguay, I seen very disgusting story. And they just few very huge trucks just destroy the selva, jungles. They just cut only big trees, but small trees they even don't cut. Just destroy for soya. And it looks like it's like a killing of someone. It's the same feeling. It's jungles with birds, with small species, with small rivers, with some whatever, just a jungle, and just soil for soya.
They just clear everything.
Clear anything.
Yeah, it's killing.
And we need it for food. But I don't know what to do with this problem. Only if to be more responsible and to try grow the food in some more responsible way.
It's good soil, eh?
I really recommend, if you have after the tea, just put it on plants, because it's a good content for plants.
Exactly.
And even, for example, our hairs, a very good content for plants. If you don't know, hairs is extremely good because it contains a lot of things which is good for the plants. Yeah, just all the hairs put on the plants. It's working. Personal recommendation. If it's not too chemical hairs.
Also, if you have this amount, you can put it in your bathtub.
But till it will be broken and you will have dust.
So it must be go to sleep for 3 days. Probably. It's going to feel great
when your skin absorbs it.
It's going to
it can be broken, but if you use very good quality fabric, which is don't infuse the dust, but it might be like at least 4 layers of fabric, and you can put it. It will be like pillow. Why not? Good idea. We done sometimes in Russia, but I mostly, sadly, in my house, because I live not in a flat but in a house, so I could put it on the backyard. Yeah. But some people who live in the flats, we didn't have a place to put it, so throw it away. So these 2 last teas, you feel the tea high, a little. This is what we're talking about. Much difference between the regular teas and teas what we present, what we're proud to present. Last tea we will drink in silence, and you will feel much difference. Even like now, we just didn't talk 1 minute. In China and Japan, for centuries, some teas was used as a part of ceremony, as a part of some spiritual practices, and some Buddhist and Taoist monasteries use it for just for boosting up, for praying for longer, like few days praying, reading mantras. It also keep them active for a long period of time. So this is why a tea ceremony and also tradition, also camps have very strong relations with that tradition, especially with Buddhist and Taoist culture and practices in religion, spiritual practices, and now of course a lot of people who are into that also have a lot of relations. Me myself, I'm not a part of any religious group or whatever, but I respect each other. But what I really feel that doesn't matter which what kind of religion or spiritual background you have, you always find how to include tea into it, because you will, it fits. It's just an instrument which helps you to rebuild and improve your practice or what your hobby or your work or whatever.
You should ask him.
Yeah.
So is this the last, or do you still have one?
We still have one. I just want to for the last one a little bit more silent.
What's happening with your blood pressure?
For me, is it's my love. I really like to brew tea and to represent it, because each time I brew it and I tell something, I also learn. For now, I just practice in English also, because I have for a long time. I for example, I first time arrived to Western Europe 3 years ago. Before I never. I just traveled like Fiji, New Zealand, or USA or Chile, no problem. But no. Europe, it was very funny. I never was in Germany. I was only from Netherlands. There was a small city on the border. I just was drive it from Netherlands when I never was in Spain, Italy, whatever. Just never.
Something new.
Yeah. And it was one day in France. For me, it's also education.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver. I will give you this tea for the bar. Yeah. And I will brew last one. Last one, it's a tea which is really special one. And we also have it. We also have it in stock here, but only this amount. And why? Because it's from 1961. Yeah, yes. No. It's 1961. It's called Mingo Lao Liu Cha, which means Gomindan, early period, and Lao, it means old or aged. Liu Cha means green tea. So actually all of you and most of the people know that green tea must be consumed fresh. We need fresh green tea each year. No one drink old green tea. It's like, it's trash, it's not useless. But this green tea almost came to the point. Then it became something special. It became good green tea. But for green tea, you just need a little bit longer time, maybe 40 years longer time to have a good aged tea, because it's fermentation of green tea. When you making fresh green leaves, it's there's a fixation, which is a big difference with the Sheng Puer and green tea, because it's very similar. When you take fresh Sheng Puer and fresh, which is called Chinese raw, fresh raw puer, and green tea. Green tea, you have this final process. The high temperature, more than 100 degrees, you fry it and dry to fry it. But it's not actually green, it's aged, so I use this one. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like green, but it's not green. Yeah, and it's a very, very special product, because so long time, even with this final fixation process, it's also a little bit, not even a little bit, fermented naturally, because very long time storage. And also there's a technology behind. Then some of masters who age these teas, especially, for years. Most of them really very old because it's like, oh, I bought it like 30 years ago and it was not fresh for that time already. This tea, sometimes they a little bit roasted to rid of the aroma which came sometimes a little bit moldy aroma, a little bit, then it stored in wet place, refresh it by this roasting. For this one, I think they roasted maybe 1 or 2 times, but I'm not sure because no one knows it exactly. It's really old, and why I believe my supplier, because it's completely different taste. You will try. It's absolutely impression. It was my very big impression a few years ago when I first time try aged green tea. Mostly it's not presented in big amount. You can find aged oolong, aged puer, aged heicha, aged black tea, aged anything, but not green tea.
So it's really specialty. It's not really uncommon.
I only know one collector who have something like that, maybe 2.
And that's your private collection, or is it something?
We have for sale. We have even 3 types of it, and it's not like extremely pricey. It's not cheap, but it's not thousands. But we have like maybe 40 grams, 40, and also we have few other types. But I'm not sure.
Do you use for 1 cup?
I think here I put around 15 grams, because we have can you check how much is it? Just for,
yes, of course.
Yeah, wildly-frown. I don't know. We have it in system, I think. Wow. Yeah, you can try. We didn't throw away first brew because there is no any relation with green tea and the taste, but the aroma and the aftertaste.
It has something green.
And it's very, very different. But tastes a little bit like Sheng Puer, a little bit like aged oolong. First tips, it's just mostly looks like puer, but later it's more and more open. You see, completely different within, which is can be only 1 tea for evening. And what I can say that a lot of people, oh yeah, it's expensive, I can buy. I just okay, compare it to the price of just a Czech restaurant. You buy like 10 grams of this tea for a few good friends, drink together and feel great experience. And it will be not, if you just share it for you have a great evening with few people, it's not too expensive.
Like old school designer drugs.
Yes. Legal.
Yeah, legal. Recreational party.
So I would say it's around 30 euros for 1 serving.
Yes. So it for 10 grams, it's 29 euros for 10 grams, and 290 for 100 grams, and 2,900 for 1 kilo. And 29,000 for 10 kilos. Who want 10 kilos obviously? Yeah, but I don't have. It's came to Taiwan from China, but no one knows which is from there, because it was so long time ago. So it's yeah. And mostly because for that time there was also much bigger manufacturing of green tea in Taiwan also. So maybe it comes from, there is a region called, I forgot, it's nearby Inge City. There they also made in Taiwan green tea, a small amount of green tea. In Nantou region we also made, but very low quantity. Thank you again for coming. Hope to see you again. Welcome to the club all the time. It's really great experience to open here and see the same shining faces as everywhere, because a lot of people think, oh, it's impossible, never, oh, they don't drink tea, it's impossible, no one will, you all drink only coffee, it's not even try.